Hey, welcome back for the review of the Z Grill here. So I've been using the Z Grill here for about a week and a half or two. So we're going to go ahead and do a review. We'll talk about some of the features I like, some of the features I dislike, and some of the things I wish we could improve a little bit on. So we're going to start from the left here with the hopper, and then we'll move down the side of the grill. So first things first with the hopper, I dislike how flimsy the hopper cover is. If you can hear in the video, as I tap this, it rattles. So that's not a big deal unless you get a little bit of wind and it hits it just right, and then it rattles while you're grilling. So I'm not a fan of that. We'll address that in a later video as we start to upgrade this grill and improve upon its performance. Other than that, it does have a good hopper capacity. I think with all pellet grills, I think we all wish they would hold more pellets. And I felt the same way with this grill. It does have a good pellet hopper capacity. I'd have to look up the exact specs on Z grills, but I never ran into an issue when smoking anything that I ran out. But I never did an overnight smoke or anything like that with the grill itself. But like I said, that's a typical trend with most grills, pellet grills, is everyone wishes they had a bigger hopper. Other than that, from the hopper's perspective, I do like how this is enclosed on the Z grills. So there's a plate that actually covers all the electronics on the bottom here. With some of the competition grills or some of the other grills you'll see out there, it'll be all covered. But if you look at the very bottom of the grill, the bottom is actually open. So you got wires up in there that something you get into and chew on them. On previous grills I've owned, I've had issues with mud daubers getting into the fan and building a mud dauber's nest in there, and I'm having airflow issues through the grill. Nothing major. It's just kind of one of those things you look out for and you learn as you own the grill that you might want to check it after a winter or anything like that. Make sure that nothing's impeding up there. Other than that, moving forward, the lid here, I like the stainless steel on this grill. I do like the contrast from the black to the stainless steel. The one thing I will say about the black is I don't know the exact age of this grill, but like I said, if you watch the restoration video where we kind of brought this back to where it is now, you will notice that the front of this grill was gray. So we did have to do some polishing and also do some coating here of this metal to get it to bring back that black color that I like with the contrast of that stainless steel. So it did have some fade issues. Other than that, if you take care of it, I'm sure it'll be fine. From the base itself, it's pretty standard of any $400 grill you're going to find, I would say. There's enough metal there that it's going to be sturdy, but at the end of the day, it's not, like I said, it's pretty standard of a $400 grill you would get from Lowe's or any of those propane grills. I love that this has a bottom shelf on it. It adds to the how sturdy it is on the bottom. And also, I like to store my pellets underneath the grill. So I use dog food containers or something like that, and I'll actually slide it on that bottom shelf of the grill to store my pellets. That way they're easy access for me when I'm out by the grill. And also that dog food container does a pretty good job of keeping moisture out of your pellets. So if you don't use those and you want to keep your pellets by the grill, I do suggest those. They work pretty well. Other than that, I wish I could access that shelf from the front here. I wish these panels were in the back. I wouldn't say I want the panels gone. I just wish they were on the back legs instead of the front so I could access the shelf from the front of the grill. Nothing major. You just got to reach underneath the sides to get anything you put under there. But like I said, nothing too major. Just a little tendency that I would like to see is access from the front of the grill to that bottom shelf so I can truly use it. Other than that, moving back to the lid, like I said, I love the stainless steel on it. As we open this lid, I'll point out here, this is another layer. So one thing I really do like about the Z Grill's lid is the double layer hood. So what that's going to do for you is add another thermal barrier to the outside elements. So if you're grilling when it's cold outside or anything like that, that's going to help you retain a lot of the heat inside this grill. The only other thing I noticed about the lid that I could say would be a negative in my eyes is as we get to the front of this grill, the bend doesn't quite follow perfectly here. So you do get a little bit of a gap in the front. So with that gap in the front, what you're going to see is a lot of smoke leakage out the front of the grill when you're doing smoke or anything like that. And with pellet grills, the things I've noticed over the years of repairing these and using them is smoke leaks cause inconsistencies in your temperature inside and make it harder for the grill to maintain a consistent temperature. And we'll do some testing to prove that out on this grill. We'll do some upgrades to it so you can see there. Other than that, I like the 2-shelf system that they have here. It is very convenient for smoking, especially if you're doing ribs or something like that. I do like that I have the upper shelf so I can move them up in the smoke chamber to get them farther away from the heat, but also for capacity. You know, you could easily do four racks of ribs on this grill, and that's a big positive to me. So other than that, from the design of the grill itself, I like the extended top. So you can see how they have this larger flat section at the top. I do like that because it maintains my cook height on this top shelf. So some of your rounded grills, depending on how high your top shelf is mounted in there, that can impede on what you can use the top shelf for with that rounded edge, right? So we'll go ahead and pull these grill grates out, and we'll talk about the inside of the grill. The grill grates are nice. I mean, they're coated grill grates. Pretty standard, nothing too special. Other than that, I'll bring out the diffuser tray. So as we talked about in my cleanup video, I do love that I get to have this feature here. So this is a diffuser plate, but we can turn that, and that allows that heat to come off that firebox directly on my grill grates. That makes it a lot nicer for when I'm doing my hamburgers or anything like that on the grill. Really allows me to get the heat to the grates, so I can get those grill marks or anything else like you're doing there. Get a good reverse sear on a steak with the heat, direct heat there. So I do enjoy that feature about the grill that I haven't seen on a lot of the other brands of grills. So we'll set that down here. From the inside of the grill, I mean, it's pretty standard. They do have a firebox on the left. So if you're familiar with some of your Yoders or other brands like that, they do a firebox on the left, whereas Traeger, your Pit Boss, a lot of your CMGs are going to have the firebox in the center. From a performance standpoint, you can argue either way that one performs better than the other, but I haven't ever actually seen any numbers that prove that either way or another. So really vote of preference there. I will take you guys, and I'm going to take you in the inside of the grill here. So one thing I wish that they would improve on, and this is just for me. So here is your grease collection. So that's the hole where all your grease is going to go, and it goes into the bucket at the bottom. So the thing I dislike about the grease collection on this grill is that they don't have any channels or any metal directing that grease to that center hole. So if you're on unlevel ground or something like that, and say you're leaning forward, that grease is going to run off your grease tray and down, and then it'll pool up here in the top, and you'll get a buildup of grease. Not a big deal, but I do like to see my grease trays to where they actually run down into the grease collection bucket like they're supposed to. And a lot of your other brands of grills are going to have that on it. So a lot of your other brands of grills, like I said, are going to have a tray or more metal that's going to actually direct that grease to the center where it'll make it to the grease bucket easier. Makes your cleanups easier. You don't have to worry about grease buildup down there and getting the grease cleaned up down there. So I do wish they would add some metal there so that would slope into that hole. Other than that, from a smokestack's perspective, pretty standard smokestack. Nothing too out of this world or any different than most of your other pellet grills. Over on the right-hand shelf there, the shelf is nice. You do have a bottle opener here, depending on the beverage you like to drink. That is a nice feature. Other than that, I do like these pegs. So unlike some of the other grills you'll see, where it's just a bent piece of metal that's up that gets bent down, or it's not strong enough to hold some of your heavier tools, these are actually threaded inserts, and they have an insert inside that shelf. So I like that from the standpoint of, like I said, when you get some of those heavier tools, you'll be able to hang them on these without worrying about them falling off. I have used the magnetic ones from Amazon for the grill, and they work. But when you get some of those bigger tools that I use, or I like to use on these grills, sometimes the magnets just aren't strong enough to hold it.